This week on Unapologetic Uplift.
I hate to break it to you, but there's no such thing as a perfect relationship.
What if you lived as if you'd already been canceled?
You can't be canceled. Nobody can cancel you. You get to decide if you're going to let that happen or not. You don't have to hide any parts of you, even the terrible things that have happened, the mistakes that you've made.
Shame will literally cause inflammation in the body.
People are going to judge me. People are going to hate me. Just be you. You are enough.
I want to find myself in more spaces and around more people like you, Kim, where we're allowed to be who we are for real and experiment too.
Our decisions aren't a life sentence. We can change our freaking mind, and that's okay.
I don't want to just talk to talk. I want us to get to juicy nuggets. I want us to challenge ourselves and each other. I just don't have any room these days for bullshit.
Get ready to rise above the noise and unlock your true potential. Welcome to Unapologetic Uplift, the podcast that's all about keeping it real and helping you live your best life. Buckle up. Get ready to learn, grow, and evolve with us on Unapologetic Uplift. New episodes released weekly.
Welcome to Unapologetic Uplift. I'm your host, Kim Staples, joined by my stunning co-host, Ianthe Mauro. Today we're doing something very different. We are talking about the podcast and a pivot that we are going to be making. So, welcome.
Yes, and I'm going to light a candle for this. I'm lighting a
Yes,
candle
please.
for the pivot and for setting an intention, because that's something that I always want to do. No matter where we pivot, no matter what we're doing, we're going to start with a candle. Okay, so the intention that I'm setting on this candle today for us is that we bravely, courageously allow for the truth and the deep meaning of why we're doing what we're doing to be in the light.
And so it is.
And with that, so yeah, it's fun because what happened was, and this always happens to us, you'll say something to me as if you say, I've got this download or I have this thing that came to me in deep meditation, and you tell me, and it's like, oh, of course, I was thinking the same thing. Or that sounds really familiar. It's never, I'm surprised and shocked. And that's because and that, if you notice, everyone, the friends that you have in your life that are like that, keep them, because they're riding on a wavelength with you. So what happened recently was Kim and I both felt, we love the podcast so much. We're obsessed with doing this. We love having these conversations together. And we've been really excited because all of the guests we've had so far, with the exception maybe of, I want to say there might be 2 or 3 where this isn't true of, but most of our guests have come to us to say, we would love to be on your podcast. And it's so exciting to have people that want to join us for this. And it's hard to even describe to people what this podcast exactly is, because when we say Unapologetic Uplift, it's pretty broad. And what does that exactly mean? But what's happened because of who we are and how we are, that I've noticed, is that we end up having conversations where we go somewhere really deep and we don't allow it to just be surface. And it seems to happen magically, like, oh, it just happens that we happen to go there. And I remember, for instance, a couple of episodes where our guests have said to us, I've never shared this before publicly. And then they're sharing something. So you had this brilliant thought. You had this download, and it was in perfect alignment with how I've also been feeling, which is that, I don't know if you want to call it a rebrand or just a fine tune or a pivot, but we realize that what we both love doing is going so deep and not allowing for elephants to be in the room. And the way that you put that, because you wrote to me and you said, I want to make this so that it's all about, what is there an elephant in the room? Because if there is, we're going to out that, and we're going to share that, and we're going to courageously speak on that, and we're going to say yes. And you actually even used the word, you said, hold on, you said unapologetic, because we thought of, there's another word you used besides uplift. And I thought, that's it. That's actually what we're doing. It's unapologetic
Unleash.
Unleash. To unleash. Yes. So I think we could even be changing the language. Instead of unapologetic uplift, it could be that this is unapologetic unleashed. So what do you think about this, and how did this come to you?
Yeah. Oh. So I was doing one of my full day self-care, healing, meditative days, and I ask my higher self, my spirit guides to guide me on where to go. And I was asking for specific things in my business and for anything that would help us move the podcast forward and improve it. So I think we both have felt like the podcast is amazing. We love it, but we want it to be known for something, and we want to make it, I mean, it does have a big impact, but we want it to be known for that. We want to be helping people. And I just thought, we had just done the episode of me sharing about the parental alienation and all of the struggles with my son, which was super vulnerable for me, but it felt so good to get that out because that was my elephant in the room. It's this thing that has been like sitting on my shoulder and weighing on me. And you have those thoughts. What if people find out that I have this type of a relationship with my son? What are they going to think? How are they going to judge me? And these things tend to hold us back from fully expressing ourselves. What is the thing that you can't talk about? That is what your elephant in the room is. It is the thing that you worry about people finding out. You worry that maybe you're going to be canceled if the world only knew this thing about you. It's the thing that can make you feel like an imposter. And by me going on the podcast and sharing about what that was for me, it just felt so good. Because here's the thing about this stupid cancel culture. You can't be canceled, okay? Nobody can cancel you. What happens is when people attempt to cancel people, you get to decide if you're going to let that happen or not. Are you going to stop showing up and disappear? Or are you going to say, yeah, it is what it is? Usually it's part truth. But the thing about sharing your elephant in the room, or the thing that you fear people finding out, is that by you sharing it first, it's not that big of a deal, right? Nobody can use it against you now. It's already out there. You've already aired the dirty laundry, so to speak. And it just takes this massive weight off of your shoulders. And I know what that does to a person.
Yeah.
And it doesn't even necessarily have to be in your personal life. It could be in your business too. Because there are so many people that need help in business, but they think they should have all of the answers. And they're like, I could never tell people that I don't know how to do this, or that I don't have clients yet, or I only have a couple clients. And this thing holds you back because you're trying to show up as the person that knows what to do, that has the clients, and you're not being authentic and true to yourself. So we just want, from the start, all we have wanted is to offer a safe space for people to come on and be true to themselves and unapologetically be real.
Yes.
And I just think that this is a perfect way for them to do that.
It is. And it's happened that way anyway, even with us not having the intention so clear. It took this time. It took however many episodes for us to get more clarity on what it is we really want from this and what it is that we don't. And it reminds me of something that I heard from this amazing creator, Africa Brooke. She is an influencer and a philosopher and an artist and amazing, and a tea aficionado. She's so cool. Anyway, she said, what if you lived as if you'd already been canceled?
Mm-hmm.
And that question really stopped me in my tracks, because I've been someone who I would call myself, I'm diplomatic. I'm very good at making everybody around me feel comfortable. This is what I've been told. Like, I'm very nurturing. I have this kind of energy, right? Where I'm not judgmental. But what ends up happening is, if I'm too much worried about making sure everybody's comfortable, what am I not doing? I'm not sharing the truth of what I'm going through, or telling you the things that are hard for me because, they might be uncomfortable. And uncomfortable has somehow been equated to not good, which is ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
So for years now, I mean, this is not anything new to me, but I would say, as with anything that we're trying to do and do well, it takes longer than just, you get the idea. Like, I got the idea, okay, I need to be more real and I can't worry so much about others and I have to stop the disease to please. Okay, I get it. I get that intellectually. Now, where is my heart? Where's the rest of my body? And how is it actually connected to that thought? And how am I actually showing up in the world? And so it's taken me years to show up where now I'm not afraid to piss someone off because I'm going to say something that they don't like. And I realize that rejection is a protection and that's okay. And anyway, it's about them. And if they're not ready or they don't like it, why would I want to force them to still be in a circle that I'm trying to hold space for? That's exhausting. So it's all related to that. And it's related to this disease to please that so many of us have who are conscientious and just want people to feel good in our presence. And why wouldn't we? Why wouldn't we want people to feel good in our presence and nurtured in our presence? All of that can be true. And also we can be real. And the things that we fear the most will bother people or make people feel uncomfortable. Those are what we want conversations around on Unapologetic Unleash, because that's where we're going to get somewhere. We're going to help more people. We're going to encourage people. And we will also probably lose people. That's great too. And the audience can, can shift. I don't want to live anymore with this fear of upsetting people being the reason that I don't tell the truth.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly it. And as I had mentioned in that thing that I wrote to you, we want to create a world where it is just safe to fucking be who you are. You don't have to hide any parts of you, even the terrible things that have happened, the mistakes that you've made. We make a mistake and it weighs so heavily on us and we carry it and we make it mean something about us. When it doesn't. I have come on before and shared about my relationship struggles for that reason too, because everybody likes to portray that they live in this perfectly happy relationship. They have this perfect family and they show all of their highlight reels and they never talk about any of the struggles they have. And I hate to break it to you, but there's no such thing as a perfect relationship. Not the relationship with your children, not the relationship with your spouse, not the relationship with your parents, your siblings, your friends. It just doesn't exist, right? There's challenges in every relationship. Even we have had challenges in our relationship.
But yeah.
Yeah, nothing serious, right? But it's like the spouse. People literally are afraid to say, we're fighting and struggling and I don't know if it's going to work and what to do.
And also, yes, I'm sorry, you can finish that thought. I hadn't thought about that.
Like I've been in that situation and it keeps us in toxic relationships for too long. It keeps us in situations that we really shouldn't be in because we're too busy playing pretend and carrying all of this shame. But we can just get it out there. It doesn't mean it has to end. Just get it out there, get support. Just talking about it and being real in itself can fix the relationship. Just putting that energy out into the universe. Let's not set the next generation up for failure, which has been happening for decades and probably centuries, where people just pretend that everything is perfect and they don't talk about their problems and they brush everything under the rug and it eats them alive inside.
And also, who can relate to that? Because it's just not realistic. So no one can even relate to that. So then you're going, well, who am I looking at that seems to have a perfect life? And isn't it true? I'm sure everybody listening can think of a time when you thought, well, that's the perfect couple. And then you come to realize there's all this stuff behind the scenes and you're like, wow, oh, okay. I actually appreciate my own problems. I don't want to be, but there's that thing of seeing from the outside. And I remember that thinking that. Also, you mentioned shame. And if there's one thing we can do on this podcast is help people not get caught in a shame spiral and to get rid of shame. Because as I've talked about before, shame will literally cause inflammation in the body. It causes disease. There's no room for it. Now, shame for a moment so that it forces you to take a look at yourself and what you're doing in patterns and to break those and to get better. That's okay. That's sort of mortification, which can lead to, that's the breakdown to the breakthrough. But shame all the time and living with it, please, there's no room for that. If you're experiencing that, you're doing something wrong. Come to our podcast.
You're not talking about it.
Please.
You're not talking about it because
No.
the thing about shame tells you that you can't talk. That's how you know if you are carrying shame, because you can't talk about the thing. That is it. So shame tells you nobody can know about this. I can't talk about this. People are going to judge me. People are going to hate me. But the actual cure to shame is talking about the thing.
But with safe people. So another thing I wanted to add is that also when you're talking, let's say you're having it, we'll talk about relationships. Let's say you're having a difficult time in your relationship and it's feeling to you, it's feeling really awful. You're feeling even it's bordering on some form of abuse. It's not okay. There's something going on that's wrong. I want you to realize that who you talk to and share about that, it's also important to know who they are and that they're capable of holding space for you, because that's why we want this podcast. We want to be that for you. Because I'm going to give you a very real example. When I got divorced, it was 2009, and I reunited with my first boyfriend, and he had been diagnosed since 19 years old, bipolar disorder. In addition to that, had suffered from massive mood disorders and anxiety, and it all got, and diagnoses were just thrown around like crazy, and there was a lot going on. So you can imagine, I had friends that I would share with the difficulties of being in a relationship with someone with mood disorder and mood instability. One of the friends that I shared with, she had recently been diagnosed. We were very close friends for many years, and she had recently been diagnosed herself. And when I say recently, I'm talking back in 2009. So we're going back in time. She had just been diagnosed bipolar, and she had come to me with that. And she was very vulnerable with me about what that was like for her, how it was presenting, how difficult it was. And she was going through a divorce. Here I was going through divorce and going into the arms of someone who was diagnosed with what she was just diagnosed with. What's funny is you'd think she would have the most space to hold for this and she would understand the most. And it was the opposite. We are no longer friends. She told me, I will not be able to be your friend if you're with someone, if you choose to be with someone who has been diagnosed bipolar. Meanwhile, she was just diagnosed. The reason I bring this up is I don't want to set you all up to where you're listening to us and saying, oh, good, I'm going to start sharing all these things that are hard for me. I don't want you to just share it willy-nilly. I also want you to know who you're sharing it with and be prepared that they may not be able to handle it. And they get to have their own feelings about what you're sharing. And if you can't handle it, it's not time for you to share, or it's not time for you to share with them. So you have to still be sensitive to it, not just blurting out, not just, we tend to course correct. So if you've held on to things for a long time and we're encouraging you and you want to share them, in course correcting, you may overshare. You may end up sharing with everybody who will listen. And that may leave you feeling more confused and not supported. We have our own experiences. We want you to feel like this is a safe place for you to come in and have friends. Kim and I are your friends for this time that you have with us on the podcast. If you come on as our guest, we get to do this in real time with you, and you can share the things that are on your heart, and we can be there for you. But please be careful, even in us encouraging you to share, know where you're sharing. And it might be that it starts with a professional and you're sharing in a space with someone who's qualified to help and listen in a way that is non-judgmental. Because as much as our friends and family love us, if they hear something difficult that we've hidden, that we're going through, they may hate it for us. And they may start a campaign, like my former friend did, of wanting you to get out of that relationship or do something different when that's not what you're asking for.
Yeah, that's a really valid and good point. And making sure that you're ready. We always say, don't talk about something when you're in the thick of it, in the trauma of it, and something terrible happens and you haven't processed, even had time to make sense of it. That is not the time to be vulnerable. We want you to share your message, and your message is your mess with age. It isn't the mess while you're in the thick of it.
Mess
right?
with age is the message. Did you all get that? That's a good one. I love that one. I've heard it before, but it just hit me really just powerfully right now. Yes, because right now, personally, I'm going through things that I'm not sharing. And it's not because there is an elephant in the room. It's because I'm not ready. It's too fresh. There are things that I will share, that I can share and I want to share. And I look forward to on this podcast going deep into things that have been very difficult for me the way that I lost my virginity is something I will be sharing about on an episode. It's very difficult, and yet it happened so long ago. I've done a lot of processing, including working on it with 3 different kinds of therapies. I will talk about that. And then the things that are too close, I won't. So I love that where we're going with this podcast is that we're challenging ourselves and we're challenging you, all of you that are willing to listen and willing to be here with us, to stop pretending like everything's okay and to allow yourself to share those things that you have felt would get you canceled or people would not like you for or would create shame in your body. Because hopefully in sharing those things in, again, a safe space with us and with people that you trust, it will help you heal, let go of that shame so you're not creating the inflammation and disease, and help you grow in ways that help us too. It helps us grow. There's just no badge of honor for keeping secrets that are kept because you don't want judgment.
Yeah, and it's impossible to release shame until you talk about it.
Yeah.
You really can't do it. How do we feel about letting people have the opportunity to be anonymous if they don't want it to be something that is publicly shared because they have such deep fear around who might see it, or what if my spouse sees it?
Yeah, I love that idea. So Unapologetic Unleash, let's start a community where people can do anonymous posting so that, and maybe that's via Facebook. I don't know. We can figure that out. You're all here with us watching real time as we're creating this next stage for our podcast and what this means. But an Unapologetic Unleash community where people can come in and drop in and practice. This is a safe way to practice speaking these things anonymously, absolutely, to help you see how it feels to get it out and to have someone witness and to realize, we can create these worst case scenarios in our head. If I share this, no one's going to look at me in the same way and I'll have no credibility, or they'll think I'm a fraud, or they won't like me, they'll judge me. So it would be wonderful to have an unapologetic unleash community where people can practice that and realize, wow, that actually didn't get me canceled. In fact, I'm applauded for that, and it's encouraged others because of my sharing. So I think that'd be great.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And we're going to have
I think so too. And there's ways that we can do it on the podcast with not having them on camera and using
chat feature
technology, to distort the voice if they need that as well.
Or we could have some feature where there's a live chat going and you and I are here on the podcast, and then we're checking the chat and we're reading out loud things that people are putting in, and it's anonymous. And then we're able to respond to that and just throw our arms around you virtually for whatever it is that you're dealing with. Yeah. And we're also talking about creating our first merch. Yeah. So I keep thinking I'm addicted to lipstick and lip gloss. It's one of my things, like I can't live without. I know you are too, Kim.
Me too.
We both always have mine is very
Speaking of which,
nude right now, and yours is usually a red or a pink or very bold. And both of us definitely put stuff on our lips regularly. So I've already sourced it and figured it out, and I'm going to be launching for us a lip balm that's going to be super nourishing for your lips. It's not any color in it, and so anyone can wear it. Gender neutral lip balm that is going to be for people to be a reminder to tell the truth and to speak up for yourself. It's going to be the unapologetic uplift, unapologetic unleash. We'll see lip balm, and that I cannot wait. So that's coming soon, and you and I are working on the visuals for that right now, like what the actual package looks like. But it will be on brand, and just a lovely reminder. You can throw it in your purse. It's also something you can give to people as a little gift. It'll be affordable for everybody. I want this to be something that everybody just has it, and you just put it on and you're with us and you're reminded to be truthful.
Unapologetic. Yeah. Unapologetically you.
Yeah.
You don't have to pretend to be anything that you are not. You don't have to lie to fit in. Just be you. You are enough.
The other thing I'm realizing is that something that I'm going to say that I love about myself. And that's something. So this is where I get uncomfortable. I was trained growing up, we're trained, depending on what generation you are, that's called bragging, and bragging is bad. So you're not supposed to say something that you love about yourself. And then there was a turn, and now it's everything is what I love about me, what I love about me. And then it becomes, again, it's like an overcorrection. It's almost too much in a way. But I just want to say that I feel right now what I love about myself is that I really, truly find people so interesting, and people, when they do things that I would never do, that I personally don't like, that even make me cringe, but I see how they love it. I truly love that for them with zero judgment. And this is what I love about myself. And I hope that through our podcast, I can keep showing that, because I'm going to give you an example. Angel, who we love so much. Angel was our very first guest, and we are really hoping that she comes back, because now that we're doing this rebrand, we've talked, Kim, you and I, about how perfect she is for this kind of rebrand, because she goes so deep so quickly, and she's so good at being real and truthful. I don't have a single tattoo on my body, not a single one, because I personally don't like them for me. I love her body art. I celebrate the beauty of what she has put on her body and chosen to put all over her body. So there's an example. And this is where I just want us to all raise our vibrations to the point where we can do this for everyone all the time, which is you get to do what it is that you feel called to do, that you love, that means something to you. And as long as it's not hurting others, right? Of course. But you get to do that. And I don't have to like it, but I can witness your joy, your loving it, and you being empowered by it. And I can love that aspect of it and really appreciate it. And if we could do more of that, we wouldn't have cancel culture.
Totally. Yeah. We can have different opinions. We don't have to agree on everything, and we can still love each other. There's things that you and I don't agree on. And
I know.
love each
I'm like,
other.
name something. No, okay. I don't even know. I always feel like I do, but I'm sure there are. No, I know there are. Yeah, no, I know there are.
Yoga pants.
How did I forget? Oh my gosh. I will not. Oh my gosh. But oh wow. So that's the other thing, is you have to be aware that we can also change our minds. So I might end up sporting yoga pants as clothes every day of my life one day. I might just choose to do that. Now, what if I had shamed people around me for wearing yoga pants? Then I'd be the biggest hypocrite. But instead, if I just say, hey, it's not for me. Oh, it is for you. And then I start to think, I'm going to try it. Oh, now I like it. I can change my mind. I'm not a hypocrite. I'm just changing my mind.
Yeah, like you try on a pair of Lululemon Aligns for the first time and you're like, oh, I never want to take these off.
Well, yeah. And I'm super weird. So, let's not go back into the clothing rabbit hole with me, because it could really go deep quick. But I have not ever been comfortable in jeans. So that's another thing. So no jeans for me. No jeans. Except I just found, because my friend, I'm going to give her a shout out, Elisa Ellis. She has a brand called Turnkey Style. She is a stylist, a personal stylist, friend of mine for many years. And she had a post, and I like her posts. They're always sweet. She's so authentic. By the way, she's going to come on the podcast. She told me she would. So excited about that. Anyway, she posted this thing about these jeans, and she said, if you're a person that hasn't felt comfortable in jeans, these are great. They're really comfortable. They're so good for a woman's curvy body. And I just took a risk and I ordered some online. And I have to tell you, I love them. I now have, I just got them today, and I put them on.
What kind of jeans are they?
It's called Cut from the Cloth. It's K-U-T from the K-L-O-T-H. K-U-T.
But I mean, like, what cut are the jeans?
Oh,
like, are they mom jeans?
I don't think they're mom. Well, maybe they are. They're high-waisted, which would be in the mom category.
Which are high-waisted, yeah.
So they're high-waisted. They're 98% cotton, but the other percentage is spandex. So they have a wonderful give.
Stretch.
And they're a nice dark wash blue denim. And they're a wide leg with a little bit of a boot cut. And they go long. And they're just gorgeous. And I put them on and I went, I said to my husband, I walked in wearing them and I go, I'm a regular lady now. I'm like a person because I don't wear clothes like regular. I feel like I always dress like a fairy queen. Like I don't wear people clothes. And I was like, I'm a person. I can do this. And he said, wow, those are really nice. And I was super comfortable. So they're in the wash right now. I'll have to show you
Oh,
all.
I can't wait to see them.
Yeah. So I bought a second pair immediately. So now I actually own 2 pairs of jeans, which is very new for me.
Amazing. I love jeans.
Yeah, me too. Now,
all of mine are a little tight right now.
Well, I love them
I tried to wear a pair today and I had them on and then I sat down and I'm like, oh no, this is not going to work. This is uncomfortable.
And that's the thing. See, I love them on other people. I just have never felt comfortable. And I've tried at different points in my life, but now it's a whole new world. I think we'll see.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
So what can our audience look forward to doing? What are we going to do in terms of the rebrand and the relaunch? Are we going to have any interruption in our episodes? Are you thinking that our colors change? Does our logo change? Does our name change? Or what do you want to do?
Dun, 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 dun. Part of me wants to change the name. I'm conflicted. Why don't we have people vote?
Oh, let's do that. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I do love the name Unapologetic Uplift, but I also love the Unapologetic Unleash. So much so that I'm like, oh yeah, let's consider changing it. There's just all the work that comes along with a name change, right? Mm-hmm. Possibly having to start a new social media and things like that. But I mean, we can do it. We've done things like this before. It's not.
Yes. In real time, you're witnessing how Kim and I we are serial entrepreneurs and we are not afraid to course correct, make changes, try things, and, keep what works and then can constantly not reinvent, but gather the information. We're never satisfied to just let things sit. It can always be better. We can always improve. We can always find things that encourage each other and get us to go, to be more and more real, actually, the way that we want our podcast to be. So, yeah. And then I keep thinking too, like unapologetic, unleash, and then unapologetically unleash. Yeah. I just like.
Or maybe we create a new tagline, like come unapologetically unleash on Unapologetic Uplift.
Yeah, so we wouldn't. No, that's smart. So there you go. See, this is smart, what she just did, everybody. Pay attention here. So we would keep the name because we already have it branded in different places, but we would add a tagline which updates the energy of where we're going. That is another possibility. But I do think it's fun to put it up for a vote. Why don't we come up with 3 names?
Me too.
One will be Unapologetic Uplift, which exists. The other one is Unapologetic Unleash. Let's think of a third so we have 3. I like things in 3s. And
Riverside likes it too.
The AI thumbs up is happening. And will the AI also do the heart thing? I had someone. Oh, it did. Oh, that's adorable. Yeah. And that's one thing that we disagree on is AI. We've talked about this. Yeah. I am an I know I'm not supposed to be. And you know what? This is the whole unapologetic part. You're going to watch it right now. You ready, everybody? I am not supposed to say that I don't like ChatGPT. And here's why I'm not supposed to say it. Because you're supposed to say, well, the truth is it's here to stay, whether you like it or not. Just like computers, the people that said, I don't like computers. I'm just going to have conversations. Well, those people are sad because computers took over the world. Same thing with ChatGPT. You're not supposed to say you don't like it or you're not comfortable with it because it's not going anywhere. Well, guess what? I don't like it. I'm not comfortable with it. I think it's really stupid. I promise you that I can tell when people use it. I love you, Kim, and I hate ChatGPT.
Yeah, you can. You can tell when people use it in a lazy way.
I was going to say, use it lazily. I know, because everyone who wants to go against me on this, I'm fine with it. I will have this debate. This is just my personal opinion, but I will tell you that when you use it, thank you for adding that word, lazily, I can always tell. And here's the other part, is it's training us to be lazy. I'm a writer. I come from a family of writers and educators and PhDs and people that are creating and making things in the world, artists, dance, all of it. That's what I was raised with. To not have that creativity, that level of creativity, because wow, I can get 10 different versions of a poem on this subject matter by ChatGPT in 2 seconds. Well, what is that taking away from? You may get a great poem out of it, but what are you taking away? It's the exercise of going into your brain, your very personal experience, pulling out something that means something to you and throwing it out there and seeing how it hits other people. That on a soul level, I do not believe that AI can replicate. And
It can't. No, it
I don't like
absolutely
it.
can't. No, it can't do that. Well, yeah, sure, it could write a poem. It's not going to hit the same. It's not going to be as good. Like, yeah, it definitely, I was uncomfortable with it at first too. And you can't go into AI and just tell it to write you something like, oh, write me a post for social media about this, or write me a paragraph about this. Like, it'll do it, but it's the quality of it. That's where you can see, like, oh,
Well, that's
AI
why,
generated.
if you notice, they keep putting that now where you have to flag it's been AI generated. And so that should be a red flag to everybody that if you have to put that it is AI generated, the reason is it's not the same as original content. So it even has its own now specification or
Yeah, so that's for
qualification.
video. That's for AI generated video, because there's some shady stuff that can be done if you're creating AI video, right? It's looking like people are saying things that they didn't really say.
Right. Right. The deep
Which,
fake thing where they can even, it looks like you and your voice is the same. And yeah, it's all scary.
yeah, that does creep me out.
Yeah. And we'll do a whole episode. We can do a whole episode on this, and it'd be nice to have a guest who, I would like to have a panel on this where somebody who really believes it's the best thing ever and somebody who, like me, who doesn't. I know that one of the reasons people use it a lot, I hear it, is saves time. And my suggestion is, what time are you saving? Why do you need to save time? Why are you in a life where you're so hurried and there's so much coming at you and there's so much competition that you feel you have to save time and not think and write and stop and create? That's a whole other question. And one last thing on this, and then we can move on because it's not what this episode's about, but you see, this is what we want, is these things that are somehow could get us canceled in certain circles. Is that so I'm an actress and I come from a theater background. I trained as a theater actress. I did a lot of Shakespeare and live theater. And what I will tell you is that all of the great, great actors on film, it's when we watch a film and it really affects us and it pulls at our heart and it's emotional because of the music and the lighting and the acting and the directing and all of the things that go into the film. And it gets us to have a cathartic moment or laugh or whatever it is. That is not the same, even though it is wonderful. It's never the same as live theater when you're actually experiencing the energy of the other person in real time. There is this connection that is formed by the person on stage and the audience that's watching that can never be replicated. That's why if you see 10 performances, because a show runs for 20 nights and you see 10 of them, you have a very different feel. You'll have a different experience. You'll notice things differently hit you because it's a real person. And even though they're reading the same, not reading, but reciting the same lines, the same character, the same story, it's going to be different. They might have had a different, that day they woke up differently, they were more tired that day, or they had more energy that day. And so they're doing the same character, and from the outside, far away, it could kind of look like it's the same performance every time. It's different every time. And as an actor, I can tell you, every time I would do the same performance, I was affected by the audience that was in the room for that performance. And sometimes those audiences were difficult because they weren't really paying attention, didn't want to be there. And other times those audiences were hanging on my every word. And believe me, those were very different performances, even though I spoke the same words.
Yeah, no, totally. I can relate to that, not as an actor, but as somebody that teaches. I have taught the same masterclass to different audiences, and it has gone completely different based on a number of things, the audience being a huge factor for sure.
Yeah. So I just want more. What I'm craving these days is dropping masks, being okay to be whoever you are, whatever it is that you're thinking. It's okay to have those thoughts. It's okay to have those desires, even if you're afraid that others will judge you for it. I want to find myself in more spaces and around more people like you, Kim, where we're allowed to be who we are for real and experiment too. Maybe like we said, I'll become the leggings wearer 24/7. I mean, I get to change my mind, but I want to be around people who allow me to do that, who allow me to learn and grow and change and not have to be one certain way. And we're all many parts. We're all complex beings. And I
Yes.
want us to celebrate that.
Our decisions aren't a life sentence. We can change our freaking mind, and that's okay. The changing your mind and the pivot and not changing anything, keeping it the same, is a sure recipe for disaster and failure, in my opinion.
Yes. And why is that? Why is it a sure? Because since you're sure, tell us why. Why is that?
Okay, let's use business as an example. Let's use this podcast as an example. We could just leave it alone and keep going the way that we're going, and it could keep being okay, but it isn't exactly what we want it to be and doing exactly what we want it to do. So we have to pivot, make some changes, and improve upon it. For example, something that I used to do in the past is I would commit to doing something and I would be really excited about it and all in on it. And then, like, after 6 months, 7 months, it's not going the way that I thought it was going to go. And I'm like, oh no, but I can't. I said I was going to do this, so I have to do it. I can't quit. I can't give up. Sometimes the best thing you can do for yourself is throw something away and give up on it. I'm not saying don't put in effort on things, but if it's not what you want it to be, you're the only one that can do anything about it. And by not doing anything, nothing changes if nothing changes.
That's so true. And also, it's equally, I think, damaging to give up, like you said, to not put the work in, to immediately fold because, oh, it's not working. It wasn't what I wanted. And that I've seen people spin through that they want this gratification. They see a lot out there like, oh, if you do this, it will blow up and you'll go viral. And they don't go viral. So they quit it immediately. And so there's that side of it too. Staying with something longer.
Yeah, nothing is an overnight success. And a lot of people are sold this overnight success. I'm going to go start a business and in a month, I'm going to be making 10K a month. A lot of people want the results. And they think that the results are going to be instant or easy. So that's not what I'm talking about, right? Like, I'm not saying I want to make $1 million this year. And then when I realize this isn't going to be nearly as easy as I thought it was going to be, like, that's not for me. That is not at all what I'm referring to. If you want to be successful at anything, you need to look at it as a long game. You're going to have to pivot. You're going to have to change things. There's no such thing as an overnight success. There's no such thing as I just came up with the idea and boom, you're going to fail and you're going to have to start over, and some things just don't do. And sometimes people will realize this isn't for me because it's too much work, and okay, I guess. I am not that person. You are not that person. You would never make a successful entrepreneur if you are that person. But
yeah. Well,
when you go all in on something and you don't like it and you find that you're miserable, there are people that build a business and then it completely takes over their life. And I've had careers that I thought I would love, and then I had no time with my family, things like this. It's okay to say, yeah, you know what, this isn't for me, and to pivot and change and do something else. And sometimes it is necessary to do that. A lot of the time, it is necessary to do that.
Yes, and it depends on where you're at in life. I'm at a very different stage than you. You have young children at home. I don't. I'm what they call an empty nester. I'm at a very different stage in my life. And there was a time when I remember making a goal in my candle company that I wanted to do $500,000 in a year. I wanted to do 500,000 in candle sales. And that year was hell. It was so hard. But guess what? I got to $485,000 in sales. The thing is, it wasn't sustainable. I tried it, I did it, and I realized that's not for me. I could have kept going. I could have then said, oh, now my next goal is 1 million and my next goal is 5 million and my next goal is 10 million. And I knew that in order to get to those goals, because I tried that 1 year, meant that I couldn't be present as the kind of mom that I wanted to be. I couldn't be present to being the kind of friend that I want to be. I couldn't be present in my life in the way that was really important to me. And the money was exciting and it felt like I wanted to know I could do it. And as soon as I knew I could do it, I didn't want to do it anymore because it wasn't really what I wanted. It wasn't the dollars. It was, like I said, it's the quality of my life. It's the quality of my everyday. Am I in a space where what I really consider wealth is being in a place where if somebody who needs me, who I love, who's in my close circle calls me and needs me, I want to be able to be there for them. I want to be able to help people that I love and people that I don't even know as well, by the way. I can't do that if I am working so hard towards this monetary goal. At least that was me. Now, there might be somebody listening who goes, I can do $1 million in sales this year and still be present for my family and still be present for my friends who need me. That's fine. And that's
Absolutely.
totally, and this is part of what we've been talking about all along. It's not judging, but for me personally, it was not this, there were too many sacrifices to these other things that meant so much to me in getting, and maybe it's just because I wasn't good at it. Maybe I'm not that good at making that amount of money. I don't know, but I was able to do it.
No. It's doing it. It's doing it. Maybe it's doing something different. Can do it in a way that doesn't take over your life.
But I didn't figure that out. Yeah.
What you were doing wasn't it, right? And that's okay. We can pivot and we can create multiple streams of income. We can do something completely different. It's like I can still have that goal, but I can't be clung to how I'm going to achieve it. And I have to recognize that there are multiple different ways to achieve it. And it's not always going to be the way that I initially think it's going to be.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Yes. So what we're doing with this podcast is exciting to me. And we're going to have these, you might consider them, we might say these are hard conversations, but actually these are the most exciting conversations because it leads to breakthroughs. And otherwise, what's the point? I don't want to just talk to talk. I want us to get to juicy nuggets. I want us to challenge ourselves and each other. And I want us to keep creating and building trust with each other, that this is a place that everyone can come and feel confident that you can share the things that otherwise you might have been afraid to share when you're ready to. And so we welcome our future guests. We have some now that we know are coming on, and we're going to be sharing with them a whole new way that we do things. Before they come on the podcast, the expectation will be very clearly put out that this is what we're expecting from the podcast for the hour that we're together or less. And already, like I told you in the beginning of this, we've already had a lot of our podcast guests have already shared things where they've said out loud, this is something I've never shared before.
Mm-hmm.
That's already happened. I think you and I have this kind of Wonder Woman lasso of truth that we do anyway without us even meaning to consciously. It just happens. And people trust us and want to, in our presence, share something meaningful. So this is just looking at paying attention to where this has gone and how this feels and seeing where we can make improvements and take it even further. So I'm super excited. Yeah. So what everyone has to look forward to is we're going to put out a survey, which name you like the best and why. And we're going to be launching this lip balm, which to remind everybody to tell the truth, and working on that. And maybe we'll have to do some colored ones too eventually, because I'm looking at you now with your lipstick and I'm like, we might also need to do that. We'll see, but we'll start with this one. And we want to create some more community where there are ways for you to anonymously share and practice this level of sharing vulnerably and unleashing unapologetically.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes, please. I love it. I think that is as a wrap. Sorry, were you going to say something else?
Oh, just so we have some work to do. Let's get to work.
Yeah, we do. There's always,
but it's the kind of work I love to do. Doesn't feel like work when it's something that I feel so called to do. And Yeah, I just don't have any room these days for bullshit. I don't have any room for surface communications. And there's this great quote I love from Anais Nin where she says, and I might not be saying it exactly word for word, but the idea of it is, I must be a mermaid, for I crave the depths and have a great fear of shallow places.
Love that. And weren't we just talking about mermaids the other day?
Yeah. Why did you say you were like a mermaid? You did say that.
Yeah, I said I believe that I was a mermaid in a past life.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Well,
But
I have mermaid hair.
the dragon thing. I remember now.
Oh, that dragons were real, and everything I've read about that. When you find, that's fascinating. When you find really old literature that mentions dragons, and they're mentioned all over the world, and they say, well, dragons are an endangered species, and you're like, wait, they're real? I thought they were a mystical beast. No, actually, they were real. And what does the word dragon mean? Was it a giant flying lizard? Did they breathe fire? What part of is folklore? What part is truth? I love that conversation because I'm totally open to believing that there are many creatures that we call now mystical, but actually existed. And maybe they didn't exist in the exact form that our mystical storytelling has given them, but they did exist. And I think dragons are definitely on the top of my list of things that did exist on this planet. And maybe there's one or two hidden somewhere. I have no idea, but I love stuff
the
like
thing that you sent me was about how they vibrate at such a high vibration, so
we can't
see them.
And that's,
is cool.
Yes. And that's not out of the realm of possibility because there's so little, I don't remember this percentage, but there is a scientific measuring of what we can actually perceive with our eyesight. And what we can't perceive is so much more than what we can. So in all of that area that we can't perceive, what is there? We don't know because we can't perceive it, but it could very well be dragons. It could be mermaids, and it could be all sorts of things.
Unicorns.
I love it. Absolutely. Why not?
All right. Well, I love you. I'm excited. And
Me too.
If you enjoyed this episode today, give us a 5-star review. Stay tuned and look out for our survey and the upcoming new season and changes that we're making to Unapologetic Uplift. Love y'all.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us on Unapologetic Uplift. If you enjoyed today's episode, please share the love and tell a friend about us and give us a review.
Please don't miss a thing. Subscribe to this podcast and explore our sponsors, Objects with Purpose, Eco Luxury Candles, and Divine Activation membership.
Objects with Purpose is more than an eco-luxury candle brand. They are time travel devices in the form of a candle. Light the 3 wicks representing past, present, and future with the validation that you are exactly where you need to be. And if you're ready to raise your level of consciousness and step into your unapologetic, unfiltered, and unbothered era, join the Divine Activation membership at cuttingties.coach/queen. With 3 tiers to choose from, you'll find the perfect fit to support your transformation.
Thank you for your listening and love. We'll see you next Wednesday on Unapologetic Uplift.
Welcome to the Divine Activation membership, a movement for women that are ready to raise their consciousness and step into their unapologetic, unfiltered, and unbothered era.
With your heart, live authentically and become the magnet for all of your soul's desire.
Grow, connect with your heart and body, release unhealthy and unhelpful thought patterns, heal old wounds, create new neural pathways, and reprogram your subconscious with high-value beliefs so you can manifest the life you're meant for.
Ready to take a break from what's holding you back? Visit cuttingties.coach and join the Divine Activation membership today. Hey, unapologetic souls. I'm Ianthe Mauro, founder of Objects with Purpose, candles that touch the soul and the body. I've released a limited edition 3-wick candle collection in 3 fragrances inspired by a time in history. The Time Travel Collection, because scent evokes memory and lighting a candle can truly transport you to your highest self. anytime.
Ianthe's candles are truly special. Clean, safe, even for the body as a solid perfume or massage oil, and smell amazing. But what truly fills her heart is empowering others to be seen in their best light.
In 2020, when the 200 stores that sold my candles across the country closed their doors, I knew it was time to give back. I started guiding others to launch their own candle companies and design candles and fragrances for other brands as a way to share light in a dark time.
So why settle for just any conventional candle? Light the 3 wicks in each Objects with Purpose candle. You're supporting handmade in California, small batch, artisanal, eco-luxury, and treating yourself to a memory-evoking evolution. Visit ianthemauro.com to discover your next favorite candle. Let the olfactory experience inspire cherished memories.